Happy day, yay, way, whenever you are clicking on this video on YouTube at Blooming Light. Okay, so if you are new to the channel, I invite you to view my homepage here, all the goodies, the details, as well as the links to other platforms that I have. And I invite you to check those platforms. I also invite you to check out, I have well over 2,000 videos over the years on this particular channel. And it's a combination between my stuff and many other content creators. And it's a mixture of types of stuff. So you're going to find Reiki, light language. You're going to find affirmations. You'll find tarot readings, energy sessions, discussions, spoken word, funny memes. You're going to find a little bit of everything here. So if you're looking for something streamlined and structured, I'm probably not the content creator for you. And guess what? That's okay. I feel like we'll be all right. All right, all light, all up, all down, all around. So this is a collective message for whomever it's for. Whenever you stumble across this might be something that resonate with you. So what's coming out about some of the divine feminines that resonate is that in some timeline or another, divine feminines was an assassin. But just wait for it. They were a trained assassin. They were trained assassins, for the good, I want to say. But, something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong to where it's like the divine feminines don't want, maybe this is why you don't want to harm. Okay. Divine feminines were trained assassins, but not only that, you were trained magician. Okay. Either natural or went to some type of school of something. You were a badass. Okay. You're a badass magician. And I believe now, again, this is one of those things. This is definitely esoteric, metaphysical, otherworldly kind of discussion. And so this, if you're not really resonating with that type of stuff, that's okay. So this may not be the discussion for you. Okay. So anyway, if you're a divine feminine that's resonating, you were a badass, major. You took down some major motherfuckers. Okay. Trained assassin. Okay. And I know I'm repeating myself, but whenever you shifted timelines, died, because I don't even know what to think about this stuff anymore. There's something that was embedded in you that you don't want to, like, whatever happened with your trained assassinations and the magic, you just don't, it made you feel devastated. Like you don't want to hurt nobody. You don't want to hurt nobody. It really took you. Now here's the kicker. So in this timeline, here's the thing about that. I believe that the powers that be, including the government, okay, not all government, because see, it's not all one and the same. There's certain ranks or certain departments or certain levels within the government. I have to specify because it's not like they all know. It's not like they're all participating because that would be utter chaos to them. Okay. But certain ones, they know that. And for some of the feminists, this is why, in part, you were chosen to be put in the targeted population for torture. Okay. And a part of that is to evaluate. Now, we're still not in agreement with it. We're still dealing with it as we see fit with our oversoul. But a part of that was to see, what trauma would induce. Okay. What would it take to activate certain, because this is innate. You have every skill and power you always had. The only thing is, in this timeline, they made sure to disconnect you from some things and to erase, make you like forget. But they know that it's in you, though. They know it's innate. They know this is not something you purchase in a program. They know that this is not something you're going to find on TikTok or YouTube or any social media platform. They know that this is not something that you're going to get laying on any practitioner's table. They know that. They know it's innate. And they also know that more often than not, trauma brings out survival in humans and beings in general. It's not the best way, it's no one is designed or should have to live their entire life or existence in that state, because it's detrimental to your well-being, okay, especially in this plane of existence. So for this physical avatar, now they know that. And so as sick and insidious as it is, it's to, in part, that's not the only reason, okay, it's also fear. Because if they are aware that you are a trained assassin, and they are aware that you are a powerful magician, okay, or high priestess or something like that, they know that if ever you did remember, and if ever you were able to access that within yourself, and they know the potential of trouble, okay, that they would be in, and the damage that you could cause if you wanted to. Okay. So, and they want to study it. They want to figure out how could they hone it. Okay. This is a part of all of the harvesting and the torture and what would push you to the brink, to what would activate it. Okay. But now I want to say this. This is also why, remember how we talk about past life karmics, whether they know that that's what they are or not? Because they erase everything. Or should I say, erase or block the remembering. Not just for the divine benevolent collective, for all human beings. So the karmics do not remember either. You see that? But they are also driven, just like you are. They are also driven and not know why they're driven. So they are afraid of you and don't like you in most cases, and they really don't know why. Some of them, make up, the mind is very creative, so they come up with ways to convince themselves. They will tell themselves it's because of your belief system. They don't like what you believe. They'll say something like, they just don't like your smart mouth. They'll say something like, they just don't. But those are things that they come up with because in truth, most of them never really have any kind of engagement with you in truth that would be personally offensive to them. Like in most cases, you've never really done anything to these people or caused any kind of issues, only up until after they've caused something for you. You never really have initiated anything, right? So this is why some of them come for you as well. Because in another lifetime, you being a trained assassin, you took them out. You took them the fuck out. Okay? You took them out. And they died with vengeance. You see how you died with, or, transformed to another form, if you will, with, I don't want to ever hurt again. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to do magic because my magic destroyed countries or whatever you did, nigga. And it made you like, oh, I don't. And that's what you died with. They died with, I want vengeance. And so a lot of what the targeted individuals are experiencing now as well is there are a lot of karmics that are in government. And just play with this as a thought. Remember, a lot of these people either were in insane asylums or they were nutsy, they were the bad guy, whatever it was, okay? And they blame you, kind of like, all these movies we see in a way. And it's embedded in them. And they vow to themselves, if ever given a chance, that they would torture you, if ever given a chance, that they would try to create in you what they blame you for about them. Okay? They blamed you for whatever mental disturbance they had and whatever consequences that landed them, whether that was they were put in an insane asylum and possibly tortured, okay? Because depending on the timeline, the methods of medicine for those who was displaying, disturbed behavior was cruel. It was cruel, okay? Electric shock therapy, amongst other cruel and torturous stuff, because the development may not have been, in terms of scientific and different approaches, may not have been developed, okay, or at least should I say manifest. So it's a number of things that and to me this makes perfect sense when I sit with it. If most of the leaderships that you all are dealing with are karmic in nature, chances are they might have been in another timeline or lifetime and they may have suffered. And so this is why they'd be so quick to want to do something to you. This is also why government will go to certain ones, because certain ones in the government knows who they are just like they know who you are. So they go to certain ones to offer a deal. And they know that they're going to be driven by their subconscious, even if they don't know that that's what it is, to want to harm you or to want to sabotage you or to want to take something from you, because you took them out. So this is why they come for your kids, to torture your kids. This is why they use your kids. They try to kidnap your kids and do stuff to them to, not just to get to you, but in some cases to try to swap them out or put something on them and in them to monitor you and to torture you by proxy. Okay? Divine Feminine, you were a trained assassin and a skilled magician or high priestess. So much so, listen to me, so much so, you took out motherfuckers, big motherfuckers. Okay? And as you sit with this thought, this might help you to understand why people that are powerful are bothered by you. When you say to yourself, I'm just little old me, they know that you're not little old you. They're not going to say that out loud because it'll be too much like affirming validation to you. But This is why they got to get so many massive groups and different things like that. The government don't need a whole foot. Just let's play with that. Okay, you're one person. Play with that thought. You are one freaking person. You mean to tell me that they need, in order to take one person out, one person with minimum or restricted means, you mean to tell me that you need hundreds of people? Just play with that thought. You need hundreds of people to take this person out. You need hundreds of people to follow. You need that high level surveillance. See, I told you, people are going to convince themselves that it's for different reasons because, again, they don't remember just like you don't remember. So they exploit things like this is a radical movement in the name of our spirituality, and we feel like we got to take them out. They exploit, supremacy groups. They exploit, cults and all of those things because they know they have like a delusional sense of purpose. But that's not really truly the real driving force. You're a trained assassin. And you still have those skills. Think about, remember the movie, The Matrix, the first one, which was the best one. It always is, right? And, they had these programs, right? Where, I'm sorry, excuse me. So they had these programs where anything that you wanted to do, all they had to do is plug it in the back of your head, put you in a simulator, download it, and essentially you could do all of those things. Well, I believe that it's similar to that. It's innate. It's in your DNA, your epigenetics is coded somewhere within your consciousness. And the right conditions, or should I say, the perfect, correct condition could allow you to tap right into that skill set, left into it, up into it. The reason why I do that, for some of y'all who are wondering, I've been figuring out the trickiness about the English language, the tricks, the spells that are on the American English language. And it's like, oh, I see how we've done, man. Because words are power, words are energy. And no, somebody's going to say, no, it's not, because all you should have to do is say this, and then that makes it happen. Well, there's more to it than that, but they still hold an energy and a vibration. And depending on whatever else surrounds it, will have somewhat of an effect. Okay. Yeah. So some of you may have had visions, when you started dating some people from your past, even that were your handlers, that were sent to you, where you were like, you could have like climbed on them, because y'all, like I said, y'all were assassins, which means you had physical agility too. This could be why you're a certain blood type now. There's so many things that's fascinating to me now. You may be a certain blood type, which has more inclination towards that badass energy. Um, yeah. And you could have had a dream as you dated these people and was kind of like, well, what was that about? These could have been affairs you had. You could have had affairs with some of these karmics too. Y'all know that, right? Oh boy. Mm-hmm. You know, could have had affairs with some of them, and you could have took them out. You could have been a divine one, assassin that was brought in to take them out, and you was the one who went in as an op. You see that? But on a good side, you know what I mean? You could have been the one winning as an op. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? Go on in there, you assassin. You know what I'm saying? Go on in there, make this motherfucker, you know, possibly different language spoken, but you know, again, fall in love, you know, date them, and then you remember the assignment. And maybe that did something to you, feminine. Maybe you don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know the full dynamics of stuff. Y'all could have been forced into that kind of stuff for all we know. And maybe it was something about that just didn't sit right with you, and you didn't like that. You didn't like the pain and the devastation that it caused people. You may have looked at it like all these casualties or all this, these are people, like, you know, because everything has an effect. You know, maybe that was your view that you held, like these people have people and people and people and people, you know what I'm saying? And that could have really struck a nerve with you. You might have been forced to be an assassin in a timeline. And then, you know, as you die, you're like, I don't want to do that. I do not, I don't ever, too much blood, too much innocent, you know, casualties involved. It, you know, it's just too much devastation and tragedy. And you might have vowed like another way, but it got exploited. Here's the thing. Let's move fast forward to this timeline. That's a beautiful, I can understand, because maybe your origins are just not brutal and grotesque and brute, you know what I'm saying, and primitive. But you're forced with your skill set, kind of like the Suicide Squad, only but a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know how they were forced, like the government came and got their ass out them dungeons and shit. It was like, you finna go kill some motherfuckers, you know, for us, you finna go pick up some motherfuckers. And if you don't, we gonna kill you, nigga. If you don't, we gonna put your ass. If you don't, we gonna go get your all. We gonna go get everybody. You see what I'm saying? And but as we fast forward to this timeline, where you're like, I can't, like you made a vow like to yourself, or like you try to, you have tried to live your life avoiding unnecessary violence. You have tried, whether that be energetic violence with magic and, you know, physical. They exploit that about you, this timeline. And this is what you need to know. They've exploited that, especially the ones that are aware that that's happening, or they're just gauging and reading you as somebody who is scared or who won't do anything. And that's actually possibly very far from the truth. You are concerned about the devastation it causes. It's not just for you, it's everyone else. The devastation, the loss, the innocence, the unnecessary. You know that these things have long lasting impact, long beyond one situation or one event. So, what I want to say about all of that is I'm just going to say, if you can, give yourself permission to journey and review that part of yourself, or sit with that, think about it. Ask yourself the hard questions and understand that it's a beautiful thing to have a heart or a soul or a frequency like yours, and keep it, but find your way. Set intention to find your way to accept that part of yourself that was an assassin, a killer, a trained one. And in another timeline, like I said, you could have been forced, and maybe you're guilty. Because when you have a good soul, that guilt, boy, I tell you, it's gonna follow you. You're a good being. The only time that stuff don't follow you is when you're psychopathic. It's not in there. Okay. So the guilt of it. Maybe you lost your children, and you know what I'm saying. It cost you. Could be why you're a guard and a mama bear this time, because again, it kidnapped your kid, doing all just crazy shit. So, you might say, I'm not guilty. Maybe you're not guilty in this timeline. And maybe you don't have anything to be guilty about in this timeline. And that's why you say, I don't feel guilty, because you haven't done nothing in this timeline. Maybe the guilt is because you were a trained assassin in a different one. And maybe the guilt is because, again, some of you in different timelines, you were physicians, some type of a medicine person, physician assistant. That's another reason why they want to study your damn brain so bad, why they're doing the shit that they're doing with their little experiment. And under your, under your care or under your watch, some of these karmics, were receiving some kind of treatment, and they died, and they were blaming you for it because you were their physician, you were their nurse, you were their something, the operator of the operation of the electric shock therapy chair. Some cases, some of you, these people were having affairs. Like, some of these people were sneaking around and having affairs with some of your people, and vice versa. And they landed in these facilities because, as per a true karmic, when they're really toxic, they repeat. Okay. They be trying to kill people for no reason other than their obsessions. You know what I'm saying? And you may carry that guilt from these timelines. Do you see where I'm going? You don't have any. The reason why you feel like you don't have, because you don't, not for this one. But for other timelines, and it could be multiple timelines, because some of these karmics have followed you all around multiple dimensions and multiple timelines. This is why some may even be a little bit more grotesque than others, because they have a longer standing vengeance that they want on you. They don't understand the fullness. Okay. They have a longer standing vengeance because in multiple timelines, they're blaming you for if they were ended up in an insane asylum. They're blaming you if you assassin them because you were paid, you were forced or trained to go and take them out. All of those different things. Some of the times you got taken out, but for whatever reason, you really didn't come back. Maybe because you are a divine being, you didn't come back with, you came back in that case with healing or moving past something. Then they came back with the vengeance. You see it? That's the difference to me between karmic or benevolent energy. And so their driving force, some of them don't even get it. That's the depth of their obsession, is because they've been crazy. Some of them been crazy and falling around. They was crazy. I laugh because I'm like, this cannot be, but yes, it can. And guess what? The government know. Oh, I know that bothers some people. All I can tell you is some of the government. Do you all really think that they don't know nothing? Come on, man. Let's go high. You mean to tell me y'all don't think? Come on. They know. They know. Now I'm going to end with this. Let's shift gears just a little bit pertaining to aliens, right? And I'm not talking about the delusion of what propaganda that's pushed in a mainstream, okay? But I'm talking about the truth about it. Because not all beings are necessarily malevolent in nature. Just because they are a different being doesn't mean that they're necessarily malevolent. So listen, what if I told you that the higher enough powers that be in government are aware of all of that? What if I told you they know that that's why any abductions or certain things happen? Let's say they know why it happens because of them, what they have done to some of these alien species, humanoids, right? What they have done to some starseeds and earth angels in this plane of existence with their torture programs and with their harvesting. What if I told you that they know about it? And what if I told you, Divine Feminine, they know that you can? They're concerned about you being able to tap in and access your star family, because it ain't like us in this physical human side. There's a different way, just like animals communicate with one another, that you can. And as that happens, because of what they've been doing to you and your children, you can have your people go and deal with some of their people and go locate them and do exactly the same thing. And you can. And they know it. In fact, it's probably already happening, which would make more sense, huh? As to why they got to get hundreds of people for you. I know that's a lot to swallow, but If you're on this journey and if this is resonating with you, you're already there. Because killing is not as easy. For a good soul, a good being, it ain't as easy as it sounds. It's a part of you that gets marked in a very bad way. Because there's a part of you that knows, like, why did it have to come to that, you know? And this is why divine feminists could have vowed within themselves. So if you dare to explore that side of you and accept that side of you, forgive that, and access it in a different way. Some of you all, feminines, may be being given some other kinds of downloads as I speak pertaining to strategy. And you won't speak of it, or you'll be guided to not speak of it. Simply execute the strategy. Even though you may feel like you want to help the world, you want to help, and that's good. And keep that beautiful heart. You want to help those that are like you, those that are like your children, and star seeds unite, targeted individuals unite. And but here's the thing about that. It's got to first be you. And sometimes the only way to secure something is with silence pertaining to strategies. Because case in point, you're trying to help somebody and you come on and go, okay, I was guided and told to do blah, 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 blah. And what that's going to do is give them ways to give the powers that be ways to try to hijack or interfere with that or come up with. It's like giving them the game plan, right? So you can still continue to help, but in terms of like specific strategies that's given to you and for you, that's something that you want to hold off on as you execute it and as it unfolds the way it's designed to unfold. I believe whatever the strategy is that some of you all are being given is going to surprise everybody, maybe even you. And it's going to be very fruitful in a good way. But I also believe that, excuse me, that is going to activate something that you put to sleep for your survival, that your oversoul put to sleep, your inner child, because of the hostile, aggressive environments that you have been forced to be in. It's going to take a little bit of a stretch. Your shadow, the shadow aspect of you, or I don't even know if I want to call it shadow. I'll say the dark edge of you that has come out roaring like a lion, that you have stepped into shy of like that assassination energy and stuff, because you haven't pushed it that far. But that shadow, that dark edge, where it's like, where it's like you cussing niggas and bitches, like you don't care, you saying shit, you giving people middle finger, you're like, fuck you and all your people but motherfucker, and you, man, you sharp with that shit. Some of y'all, boy, Your words cut as if knives, okay? As if. How sharp some of y'all are with that shit. But there's going to be a different strategy. And it's going to allow for even a little bit of more, it's going to allow for more zest, more life, where you're not going to feel as worn by life, as worn by all of this stuff that you feel like you've been afflicted with, or not to say you're not going to still feel all of the trash, but it's just not your approach that you're going to take on is going to help lessen its toxic effects on you and how you feel and live and be. Because at the end of the day, we can't really change the fact that you're a targeted individual. There's not going to be no special spell work that you do. There's not going to be no assassination that you do, or no taking them out that, because you are taking them down, but it's not going to be any of that that's going to really change the journey, because there's going to always be another group. The government will just send in another radical group, as for an example, you file your sub rosa, you file your RICO case. And let's say some of the cases you end up winning. Let's just say you do. Okay. But that's not going to stop other crazy radicals and corruptions for trying. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I believe that we should, if we can, if we have the resources and the strength and all of those things in order to pursue that. Because at least, this is going to minimize some of it, because it's going to make other people question if it's worth it. Because now they're going to know that, okay, well, this person is going to be under the gun and anything that comes at them. So everything is going to be under scrutiny, not just you. And it's going to cause some people to weigh the cost to benefit ratio of whether or not the risk is going to be worth it in the long haul, due to the fact that you have pending cases or you've won a case and, stuff like that. And your awareness, you see what I'm saying? That awareness changes the dynamics too. But I hope you're able to tap into whatever this new energy is that you're tapping into, and strategy. I hope it allows you to be able to enjoy your journey here, or to be able to find delight and pleasure again. I hope it helps you to creatively be able to navigate through what's beyond you, what's going to be there. One crazy scenario after the next, these environments that you all are in, because they literally wanted you all just isolated and swarmed by karmics. That's what this was. Okay. And karmics that were not just karmics, in some of y'all's cases, severe. People that were possibly in this mental institution. People who, in another timeline. People that you took out because they wanted that driving anger. They wanted that obsession, that subconscious obsession to kick up in these people that they have no clue about. Because you got to be an introspective person to even begin to understand any of that. And then after that, you have to be someone that's willing to do something about it. So most folks aren't. But this is why you lived a life where you just could not fathom and you could not understand why so many people had a problem with you. It wasn't just spell work. It wasn't just because it was a bunch of spell work. And it wasn't just because it was a bunch of people manipulate in the background. It was even deeper than all of that. It was the driving force, the driving energy behind it all. It was the entities in the background behind it all. Whether people had conscious awareness of it or not. I also believe, now I know this is definitely otherworldly and out there, I believe that there are clones. We hear it in Hollywood. We see stuff on news. We hear, I believe some of us, the people that we think are folks like, that we grew up with, our family or whatever, I believe that some of them are gone. And when I say gone, I don't mean like they're just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, loopy. I believe some of them got themselves entangled with some stuff and they died. But I believe that before that, because of the level of stuff that they got themselves involved with, there was clones already being made. And that clones walked in their positions in order to get close to you. Because you're more likely to trust and open up to what kind of people? The people you grew up with. The people you called family. The people you called mother, father, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, cousin. They know that. They know that's a potential vulnerability and a potential weak spot, even son and daughter. That's another reason why they go for that, because you will be loyal, you'll stick and stay, you will have a blind side as it pertains to these people. Cognitive dissonance is going to be there because these are people that you play jump rope with, double dutch, and you see what I'm saying? And some of them get taken over by the entities, and then I believe some of them end up gone, because they get in these groups and start doing weird shit out of their desperation to be successful, to have money, to have fame and acclaim. By the way, when I said yesterday that I spoke of the name Babette or Baphomet or Babette, the vision was divine feminine was cleaning up something, but there was a lot of blue and gold energy. She was speaking her truth. She was taking back her voice, her authentic voice. And this energy was like dancing and singing, but it was off. They were off. And there was like these glittery gold type of shoes that they were trying to put on and dance around and prance around and singing. And they came, and then the divine feminine's energy said, "Can I help you?" And then that energy basically attacked and came towards her throat, her neck. And they had some kind of device and tool. This could have been an implant. It could have been a wand. It could have been a siphoning device. It could have been it could have been a device of marking signature or whatever. So they attacked the divine feminine, her voice, her throat, and they came to her, and that's what they said. They said Babette or Baphomet, it's something like that. And the divine feminine could have tried to like either grab their hand, called their name, or like you saw the energy for what it was, so you called its name, and you could have tried to like you were trying to take their mark or whatever this was, this device off of your neck. And what I really pick up with that is that was the destiny swapping. That was the cloaking. That was the the bindings, the blindings. That was the Ursula Seawitch spell, in my opinion. And how they have been able to dance around pretending to be you. Okay. And so, because they do this when they can sense, they know that you're cleaning up. They know that you're clearing shit out. Because your head was to the nose grindstone, you were cleaning up. There was all this blue, and blue represents your throat chakra. Blue represents truth. Okay, truth, clarity, authenticity. It was a blue, lots of blue, and like white and gold. Okay, and they were trying to be you, so they wanted your voice. They were singing, but you see, the rest of the world may not have picked up the offness, but you picked up like they're off. They're sitting here trying to sing like me. They're sitting here trying to dance. They're sitting here trying to wear my shoes, and they think they're doing it better. But you can hear Ursula C. Witch. It's like you knew it was off. You knew what was off about this person. You still do. And you still know that this is one of the main energies that they have been using to come after you. Okay. Because that person, whoever that person is, they all the way gone, honey. I even question if the original them is even still alive, bitch. I question. I'm just saying. I do. I question, like, they may be a fucking clone. They may have been gone since 2007. They may have been gone since 2011. You know, because again, it just depends. They went out there somewhere and start fucking around with some weirdos and getting involved in some weird shit with some of these motherfuckers wanting so bad to be successful and shit. I even remember, I know I'm off track here, but there's so much coming back to me. I remember there was one of her bosses that wanted to offer me a job. I remember this, wanting to offer me a job living like as a living nanny. And a part of me wonders why, you know, were there not people in that city, plenty of people? They wanted to offer me a job as a live-in nanny. They were going to give me one of their cars so that I can pick up the kids and all sorts of stuff. I low-key wonder if that, hey, I low-key wonder if that's where the weird stuff may have began for this person, where they crossed the line and started getting into, you know, that could have been the sacrifice, you know, because they could have been into whoever, you know, the boss man and they people. I remember going to a party with her, a pool party at this person's house. Anyway, I've said enough, gotten off track. Whoever you all are, take care of yourself. Remember, your well-being is a part of your offense and your defense. And so when you need to rest, rest. When the rest feels like it's unnatural, break it. Be guided, you know, do things, find things to make yourself feel good, and continue to do that as you are doing this, because that too is a part of it. Okay. They want you to put yourself in you hear it? Put yourself in imprisonment because they can't. And they know they can't. So the best thing that they can do is their intimidation tactics. The best thing they can do is attempt to make you feel overwhelmed. Okay, the best thing they can do is to just send a bunch of nasty people to you to be nasty and annoying and continue the shit ton of spell work that they've been doing on you since ever. That's why it's going to serve people to catch up. You are not new to having spell work done on you. And you have had some of the most powerful beings on the planet doing spell work on you since you were born. So just because somebody can do some rando shit, nigga, that shit is going to be burned off so damn fast. Right? People sneaking up behind you to do their little whispers and their little chants and sprinkles and shit. Man, you done had some hefty shit on your ass. Some professional shits. And I ain't talking about professional because somebody got a business and they on TikTok or YouTube, or because somebody's grandmama, auntie. No, I'm talking about high level shit, baby. I'm talking about elite level. Government level, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Because look, that's why even when they send, because some of y'all, they be sending some of them incognito, right? To do this shit and still having problems with it because you've been having this shit. You have adapted. It's almost like immunity. You've adapted. You know how, you can build up some type of a tolerance and shit. You know how like some of us or some of you out there, like you can't get certain shit and you don't know why. It's like everybody else. And you could have even had it and it just morphed into like you got some fucking immunity or shit. That's another reason why they want to study you, possibly because they could have exposed some of y'all to some of the stuff that took a whole lot of folk out and it didn't take you out for some reason. Or you didn't even seem to really take seriously ill. Anywho, it's almost been an hour. If you're a good being here, I appreciate you for watching. And please do support. If you click in the description box, I do have my GoFundMe link where I am trying to fundraise monies for my son and myself to leave Southeast Texas, to leave the state of Texas. So please, if you are able to and you feel guided to, anything counts. $20 from one person can turn into $20 from 10. And you are already up there just like that. So anything that you can do to contribute. The goal is to have us out of the state of Texas. I am attempting to do this before the year is out. However, at the latest, my goal is by February of 2026 at the latest. Okay. That I am attempting to get my son and myself out of Southeast Texas, out of Beaumont, Texas. Okay. And shit costs, y'all. Shit costs. And we're going to have to, build our lives. And so I'm hoping to be able to do this from a higher standpoint so that it's not as devastating. Okay. As life altering and as devastating as it has been for the last since 2016. Okay. And if you have questions about all that, I hear that GoFundMe link is something that is protected and secure. If you have more questions about my journey and why I'm asking that, and you can look at some of my other videos. Once again, we're dealt with trauma, and we've experienced so many situations where it's like trying to entrap, where it's like living with others is no longer even on the table. Okay. Living with others or on somebody's like special weird place, We ain't finna go to no other cult with some come to us and we have a free private. No, nigga, because again, I feel like this is how they continue to exploit you and continue to have access to you. When you don't have no other means and no other choice, they know that at some point you're going to have to do something. And that's what they're just hoping for, that you would choose a situation where they can exploit it. So please do support the cause. And we're not asking for much. It doesn't have to be all fancy schmancy, but we definitely don't want nothing ran down. We definitely don't want nothing government. We definitely don't want, you know what I'm saying? We want to keep the standard of life that we deserve. We have had homes and monies and you name it taken from us that was ours, rightfully. Our lives have been negatively impacted, the potentials that we've had. And every time we build, we have had sabotagers in the background to come in and play with it. Control freaks, weirdos. Okay. So we're done with that. We're taking our power back. Or should I say, we're aligning to our sovereignty and understanding there's other options, and we're going to seek that. If you would like services, I've been working so much on myself and cleaning things up for me and my son because, again, they were exploiting my services. People were contacting me. Oh, they're weird. They're weird. And so maybe here soon, I'll see if I'm guided to open up services, and that could be a way, what I'm saying, to contribute, donation-based service and go from there. Okay. All right. Take care of yourself. Embrace all aspects of yourself. It's okay. Love and light.